truck at all times. Now, if you do plan on taking pictures out here by cherry forest. Now, these animals do have natural camouflage, so just make sure you keep your eyes peeled, as they could be on either side of us out here. It looks like already, though, coming up off to the right-hand side, we're going to see an okapi. Now, with the okapi, you will notice that they have striped legs, just like a zebra, but they are actually closely related to the giraffe, as they both have really long prehensile tongues that they use to rip off the leaves and branches from the trees. And they also have the same exact head structures. Now over here to the left-hand side, you're going to see these dark brown reddish animals. Now those are bongos. Now the bongos' horns, they are actually leaned backwards. This helps them to maneuver very quietly throughout, as they are known as the ghost of the forest for their stealth-like abilities. Now they also are the largest of all the forest antelopes, with males reaching up to about 900 pounds. Now coming up on the hill here to the right-hand side, you're going to see that pretty colorful bird. That is a saddle-billed stork. Now those birds can reach up to about 5 feet tall and have a wingspan up to about 9 feet long. The way that they communicate to one another is just by rattling their bills. And I come up here to the back left-hand side, up against the rock wall here. There's going to be a black rhino. You got up. It's easier to see. The black rhinos, they can weigh up to about 3,000 pounds, and they can run up to about 35 miles per hour. Now, unfortunately, though, they are highly endangered animals, as there are less than 6,000 of them left in the world. Their main threat is from humans, as they face poaching for those horns that they have. Looks like, though, that might be it for the archery forest section here. So we're going to go ahead and head on over towards our next location. Get a better view of them kind of mixed in with the vultures here all along the bank. But the white grayish birds are pink-backed pelicans. Now they are one of the smallest of the pelican family, with a wingspan of about 7 to 9 feet long. Now unlike most other pelicans, they prefer to do their nesting in trees, and they will generally have about 1 to 2 eggs per season. Now over here to the left-hand side, looks like we're going to see quite a few hippos hanging out right behind that first island there. Now a group of hippos is called a float. They will spend most of their days submerged underwater, as this helps keep their skin protected from the sun. It also helps keep them from overheating as well. And they can actually hold their breath for up to about 5 minutes at a time, which definitely comes in handy for an animal that spends most of its time in the water. A lot of people, they like to think that hippos swim, but they actually do not swim. Instead, they prefer to crawl along the bottom of the water. They'll kind of just crawl, run, bounce along. It gives that swim-like effect, but they kind of just cruise on along down there. Going now over here to the left-hand side, we will see some Now, Niles, they are the largest of the crocodilian species in Africa, as they reach an average of about 16 feet long. That is almost as tall as a giraffe is. The longest recorded Nile crocodile was a little over 20 feet long. Now, these crocodiles, they do have incredibly powerful jaws, but they do not when and where to use them. In fact, parents will coddle their eggs in between their jaws. They'll kind of roll them all around in order to help their babies hatch. And then once they do hatch, the mother will carry them in her mouth down to the water. Wow. Alright, so we now just exited the Salty River and are heading straight towards the savannah. Hopefully, we will continue having some good luck out here. Looks like, though, before we enter, coming up off to that right hand, that is called a baobab, also known as the upside-down tree, as it looks like its roots are coming out of its branches. baobabs, they will also go leafless for about 9 months out of the year. And then what we're entering now, this is called the Savannah Overlook. It does provide one of the most beautiful views out here. And it already looks like we're going to see some animals at the bottom of this hill, so that's always a great start for us. So coming up in just a moment over here to the right-hand side, you're going to see these tiny, adorable little brown and white animals. Now those are springboks. Springboks get their name from the fact that they can leap straight up into the air about 6 feet while at a standstill. And they can leap straight across up to about 13 feet while in motion. When they get excited, they will kind of run and then leap across. And then they'll run and then leap. It's called pronking. It kind of looks like they springboard off the ground a little bit. This is another way they got their name, springbok. And now coming up here to the left-hand side, if you look inside of the den here, there is a pack of African painted dogs. Now these dogs, they are going to look super cute and super cuddly, but they are not the type that you want in your household, as they are completely non-domesticated animals. And also, unlike other dogs and wolves, they only have 4 toes on each paw. Like I mentioned, they are packed animals. They do prefer to be in groups with others. One pack can breed us up the antelope, as they're one of the few known to go up against the lion and actually win. And they are also the emblem here on the Harambe Reserve. Right now, like I just mentioned, that was a termite mound, just in case you were wondering what all these giant rock structures are that we are passing on by. Now, termite mounds, they are incredibly durable. In fact, they are harder than concrete. A lot of animals out here, they like to use them as their own personal scratching posts from time to time, since they are made up of quite a few different things, including sand, soil, dirt, dung, saliva. They kind of have their own little ecosystem that grows on inside of them. See if we see any animals over on the far side here. Not really seeing anything in this middle section. We're going to try and just zoom on around, at least as fast as the truck allows me to go. Oh, looks like I do see some animals coming up ahead here. Looks like we are going to see quite a few Maasai giraffes. Looks like we're actually going to get a very close view of the giraffes coming up ahead. Now, giraffes are the tallest animal in the world. They reach around 18 to 20 feet tall. Now, they will spend most of their days eating. About 16 to 20 hours is spent eating and foraging for food, while only about 30 minutes is actually spent sleeping. Now, giraffes, they will also do most of their activities from a standing position, as lying down is their most vulnerable one. If you ever do see a giraffe lying down, that just means that they feel incredibly safe in their environment. But one of those activities they do from a standing position is, in fact, giving birth. So this means that when a baby giraffe is born, the first thing it experiences coming into this world is a 6-foot fall to the ground. Now, also coming up here to the left-hand side, though, you're going to see those zebras there. Looks like a couple little babies are over there as well. Now, those are Hartman's mountain zebras. These zebras actually have their own little built-in cooling system that is located in the middle of their neck called a dewlap. And that dewlap helps them to regulate their body temperatures throughout the year to keep them nice and cool, especially during the hot summer days. They are the only type of zebra to have that kind of adaptation. Now going back to that back right-hand side, Mayasalos are entering into monkey territory here. Looks like we are indeed going to be seeing some mandrills over here to that left-hand side. Looks like a whole family is over there. Now mandrills, they are the largest and most colorful of the monkey family. The males, they can reach up to about 100 pounds, whereas the females, they reach up to about 30 pounds. Not really seeing anything over on that right-hand side here. Let's see hiding up in this little clearing that I know about. Yeah, not really seeing anything over there. So we're gonna go ahead now and make our way over into elephant country. Hopefully we can see some African elephants over on the far side here. They are pretty massive animals, so they're usually pretty hard to miss, as they can weigh anywhere between about 13 and 15,000 pounds. And even when a baby's born, a baby can already weigh up to about 300 pounds. So hopefully we'll be able to see at least one elephant coming up ahead here. Benefit themselves. And it looks like we are indeed getting closer to seeing some African elephants coming up ahead here. We're going to just swing around to the front section. That way we can get a little bit of a better view. Now with elephants, the males, they will typically live in solitude, meaning that they prefer to live by themselves. Whereas the females, they'll typically live in a group with other females known as a herd. Although sometimes males will form very small bachelor herds as well. There they are, being at least 4 elephants over there so far. And you know how they always say the grass is greener on the other side there. Now, elephants, they do not have any natural predators out in the wild. Unfortunately, one of their main threats is from humans, as they face habitat loss as well as poaching. These animals are being poached for those ivory tusks that they have. And once a tusk is removed, it does not grow back. Now elephants, they will use their tusks for a multitude of reasons, including for play, to establish dominance, to break up dirt, mud, or clay, but they'll also sometimes use them in order to poke holes in these baobab trees that we kind of see scattered all around us. They'll poke those holes to release some of the water that's in the tree trunks. As these baobabs, they can store up to about 26,000 gallons worth. So by having that ability, especially comes in handy during the more drier seasons when water becomes a little bit more scarce, as it's not only beneficial for the elephants, but for many different animals that call the savanna their home, such as these pink birds scattered all around the island. These are greater flamingos. Now, greater flamingos, they are the lightest and largest of the flamingo family. They get their color pink from their primary diet of choice, which is brine shrimp. In fact, when a baby hatches, a baby will hatch all gray and will slowly start to develop their white feathers at around 4 to 6 months old. And they'll develop that pink coloring by the time they turn about 2 years old. Little fun fact though, a group of flamingos is called a flamboyant. And it also looks like coming up here to the left-hand side, we are going to see quite a few white rhinos taking a nice little nap underneath the palm tree here. Now, white rhinos, they are larger than the black rhino. These ones can weigh up to about 5,000 pounds. Now, they also are not nearly as endangered as the black rhino, but they are still up there on the threatened list, like I mentioned earlier. They are unfortunately being poached for those horns that they have. Now, it was once believed that a rhino's horns contained some kind of medicinal healing power to them, but that has since been debunked and proven false. They're actually made out of keratin. Same thing that our fingernails and hair is made out of. Now, if you just look up to the top left-hand side, a little bit halfway up the hill there is a cheetah lying down. She is facing away from us, though. They're also easier to see if you don't have on your sunglasses. But cheetahs, they are the fastest land mammal. They can go 0 to 60 miles per hour in just about 3 seconds flat. Now, cheetahs, they are also very interesting in the fact that they prefer to do their hunting during the day, whereas most big cats, they prefer to hunt at night. So having that camouflage also helps give them that advantage of being able to sneak up on their prey a little bit easier. And they also are the only type of cat that cannot fully retract their claws. Now this giant rock structure that we are going to be swinging around here to the left-hand side, this is called a kopie. Kopies are fan favorites for lions, as it gives them a great vantage point to view over their territory. Oh, actually, real quick, over here to the right-hand side, up on this little hill here, you'll see that little brown animal lying down. Now that is a water buck. Water bucks get their name from the fact that they drink a very unusually high amount of water for an antelope. So they will always be guaranteed to be found near some kind of water source. Now, like I was mentioning though, kopies, fan favorites for lions, gives them that great advantage point. Now they are generally nocturnal animals, only active about 4 hours out of the day. See if we see any over on this far side here. And it looks like they're having their little midday cat nap somewhere where it's a little bit cooler. Like I just mentioned, generally nocturnal. They do prefer the very early mornings or the very late evenings when temperatures aren't quite so high. Now these holes that are off to the left-hand side, they are made from warthogs. Although I'm not really seeing any over there. Let's see if we see anything else up ahead. Looks like that might be it. Animal lives for this part of the savannah. Now we do have one more pit stop to make though before we head on back to the village. But before we do, if you actually look on the ground there to the right hand side, you'll see those giant eggs. Now those are in fact ostrich eggs. So ostriches are the largest bird. So of course they gotta lay the largest egg. But those eggs are also incredibly durable. In fact, they can withstand up to about 250 pounds of pressure. And now before we head on back to the village, like I mentioned, we are just going to be swinging on by the wardens and checking on their Nigerian and dwarf goats. Now these goats, they are incredibly playful by nature, as they love to run and jump and climb on quite literally everything. Now these goats, they're in Africa because they help provide a very sweet milk to the villagers. This in return helps them to rely less on wild animals, as they can use that milk either for themselves or they can use it to help make other products in order to sell. If you'd like to get a little more up close and personal to some goats, we suggest taking a train to Rafiki's Final Wash. Over there they have a little petting area as well as an animal hospital and animation studio. Just be aware the last train does leave at 4:30 p.m. And if you'd like to check out some more amazing animals, we also suggest heading over to Gorilla Falls. Over there you can see some lowland gorillas, some meerkats,